Missteps and Miscommunication, a Trinidad Guardian editorial. This world is interconnected to the extent that effective communication, with trust and credibility as key components, is essential. That and genuine, transparent, and honest interactions are what citizens hope for from the people they put into political office. This week's error on the pension bill exposes significant weaknesses within the Dr. Keith Rowley administration. Political missteps that stir up public outrage seem to be occurring with a regularity that should be setting off alarms in the corridors of power. However, the degree of the disconnect is such that even when caught out, the government's attempts at damage control are bungled. Case in point, the Miscellaneous Provisions, Senior Citizens Pension and Public Assistance, Bill 2024, which was laid in Parliament and then withdrawn after the outcry over some of its unnecessarily punitive provisions. This is a controversy the government brought on itself. It cannot cast any blame on opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who brought public attention to the clauses in the bill that would have unfairly disenfranchised the country's most vulnerable senior citizens. Some blame has to be shouldered by Social Development Minister Donna Cox for attempting to defend legislation that would have denied access to the $3,500 senior citizens pension grant to elderly people in genuine need. Attorney General Reginald Armour's attempt to blame an unnamed public servant for the error only made matters worse. Very few people are buying his explanation that someone in the public service inserted the amendment to make people with savings of over $25,000 ineligible for the grant. It cannot be that all the checks and balances in the process, which should have caught the error, were either ignored or failed. The matter was so badly handled that it is still drawing criticism and generating outrage, although the bill has been withdrawn. Hopefully, a lesson has been learnt and more care will be taken with the legal drafting and laying of the legislation before it is relayed in Parliament in the future without the offending savings cap. However, that episode is just the latest in a series of blunders by the government, even as it continues to be buffeted by the repercussions from other controversies, cost overruns in the Tobago Airport expansion project, the ill-advised acceptance of the recommendations of the Salaries Review Commission, SRC, and the deteriorating industrial relations climate. In all of these matters, attempts to account to the public and provide credible explanations for decisions, particularly those likely to affect the quality of life of some citizens, have been deficient. All these decision-making and communications blunders could have been avoided by making more of an effort to connect with the population and listen to their concerns. Instead, there is a huge disconnect and an erosion of public trust. Had the ministers and public officials responsible for these recent controversies paid attention and made more of an effort to gauge the mood in the country, they could have avoided some major self-inflicted problems. The course of complaints across the country is not emanating only from opposition operatives, as many in the cabinet seem to believe. Many of the expressions of discontent are coming from ordinary men and women who feel they are not being seen and heard by their elected PNM representatives. The missteps and miscommunication, therefore, could have severe consequences.